Hello everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
And this is expansions.com, and this is our news podcast for the middle of September 2013. And some interesting things have come up this week, as always. And you know, I've been telling you for a long time about the Ice Age and how things will be starting in 2014, and that's because the Russian scientists and even the American Navy scientists have determined this as well. Well, what I also did is some research concerning how Ice Age weather begins, and it is always preceded by drought, floods, low tornado levels. Well, of course, there was no one at the time to check that, but that's what they estimate. A few hurricanes, and increased polar ice. And guess what? We've had droughts, we've had floods in different parts of the world. It's the lowest, one of the lowest tornado seasons ever recorded in many decades, and as we know, there's only now I think one hurricane that's developing mid-September, and of course hurricane season started in June.
And of course all that ice we saw when we flew over.
And we flew over the North Pole, and we went to the North Pole, and it was I said, what are they talking about? Open water warm, this ice. Well, guess what? They just admitted on AccuWeather.com and Weather Channel as well. Guess what? The polar ice has increased 60% since last year. So guess what? Looks like 2014, it will continue and get worse and worse as far as the strange weather and the ice increasing. And what have we seen? We've seen just this week in Tasmania, Australia, snow falling. Now,
wow.
Of course, it is their winter, but they don't usually
get any snow there, do they?
Get that kind of thing, not in Tasmania. And we've seen these terrible floods in Colorado, New Mexico, Texas. All this has been happening. So
they're breaking records in Colorado with their rain.
Yeah, which it's kind of weird because you think Colorado's high up, Rocky Mountain state. Wouldn't the water just drain out? Wouldn't it flood Kansas instead? They should just push it over to Kansas.
I think so. Kansas is dry.
Nobody lives there anyway, so just water the cornfields.
Except for the Kansasites.
What do they call them? Kansans.
Kansans.
I think Kansans. Any one of you in Kansas, let us know. What do you call yourselves? And be nice when you say it. Now, another part of the world, Syria. We know what's been going on there, or supposedly, allegedly. But now there is a Mother Superior in Syria. Mother Superior in Syria. Yeah. She's been there for 20 years, and she says the videos of the chemical attacks were staged before there was any attack.
Well, you know, it's interesting because even a lot of the things that you have talked about in years past, let's say the 9/11, supposedly those were implanted before. You talked at one time about people going into one country and setting the bombs, and then when they fly over and everything goes off, it looks like they're being bombed and they're not really. So we're finding out there really are a lot of staged political events going on.
Absolutely. So all of these were staged. I think we had posted something a while ago about I don't know if it was public or members about these actors that were seen filming these events in the Middle East, and they were actually staging them. The nun's name is Mother Agnes Mariam, and nuns don't lie, right?
Of course not.
Especially Mother Superior, you know, because who would hit her with a stick? You know, nobody.
No, she hits the other people.
She would hit other people. And also in Syria, they showed today that they were beheading Syrian army soldiers in front of little tiny children and holding their heads up. That's lovely, isn't it? And that's who we're supporting.
A lot of that is going on, though. A lot of this beheading and the public bloodletting, we'll say, is becoming more and more in the public eye. Whereas before you never saw this on television.
Well, I'll tell you what, all you Syrian rebel... Do you think we have any Syrian rebel listeners or readers?
Well, we might have Syrian
Because, I mean, if you want to behead people, I have a list. I will give them a list.
That's right, at this point, not even funny. But we do have Syrian readers because there are people that are refugees here in the U.S.
And you know, talking about all this, last week I told you about the U.S. fleet that had cruise missiles. They were going to bomb Syria, And so what happens today? Vladimir Putin from Russia made this agreement with the Syrians and the UN and the Americans that if they hand over their chemical weapons, I think by middle of 2014, and account for all of it, then they won't bomb Syria, which makes Putin the hero for arranging the deal, and Obama looks like a dopey. But as I've mentioned to you many times, maybe I haven't said this publicly, maybe I have. I know I've said it in other privately, but my information is Obama is a KGB setup. So of course he's going to take orders from the Russians. And how do I know this? Because I am a professional Russian, and I know all these things.
Well, and also it was very interesting what you reported last time about the foundations that were set up in his name. So I hope everybody watched those. I'm not sure what kind of comments
Nobody
we got on
commented on that part of it.
That was pretty fascinating.
I thought so. And continuing on in that topic, of course, there's more Snowden revelations about the NSA and spying, and this time it comes from Austria, in the city of Vienna, where there's apparently this big building, home, which is a center for spying on Austrian citizens. And, of course, there was also information that the NSA gives information on the private lives of Americans to the Israeli Mossad and does not censor it. They just hand it over to the Israelis. And there's a big to-do that the NSA spied on the Mexican and Brazilian presidents.
Well, I'm sure. I think they spy on every president.
Here's the thing. Hello, they spy on everyone. Why are they so upset? Why are they so shocked? They spy on everybody.
Except, like you said, they're telling us about it now.
Yeah. And then my last story, I don't have a lot today, but one of the weird stories of the week is the chupacabra that was shot in Mississippi. And what's odd is that it was in Mississippi, because most of them have been in Texas or parts of the American Southwest and Mexico, etc. And so the DNA of this creature that was shot shows that its mother might have been a Mexican coyote, and its father may have been a wolf. Now, I didn't know they mate wolves and coyotes.
But the other thing is, we've seen Mexican coyotes. We saw those at the zoo that
They
one
look
time.
like Natasha.
Right, so they don't look like what we saw.
It's not a wolf, it's not a coyote,
No.
it's not a dog with mange. No.
And it has bluish skin.
Well, and then the DNA also said there's other things in the DNA that might make it a new species. So where's that coming from? The guy who shot it, because there was something going on literally in the hen house, and he was he thought it was a raccoon, but when he saw it, it had glowing red eyes, and it had an overbite, and then when he shot it and he looked at it, it had steel blue eyes that glow red, and it was killing his chickens.
And they said because of the way that the hay was in the barn that he was at, that it looked like there were more.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
So I imagine they will be hunting for those.
Over to you, Janet.
Over to me. Okay, well, I have quite a few stories today. We'll see what you think of these. The first thing I want to tell you about is the California State Senate has just approved a bill to create electronic license plates. Now, this is going to be a pilot program, and apparently these plates are going to be similar to a tablet computer that affixes to the back of your vehicle. Now, supposedly the reason, of course, is to save money, so you can go online, you can pay your fee, and then the California Department of Motor Vehicles can put right on your plate that...
Like a digital sign.
The digital sign that it's been paid. So it'll be very easy to keep track of it. Of course, if it malfunctions, it's going to say you haven't paid, and that's going to be an issue.
You know that's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And the other thing they're saying is, for example, if your car gets stolen, then you can report it to the Department of Motor Vehicles, so instead of the license plate number, it's going to say stolen right on it.
So you know why that's not a good thing?
Why?
Because what if someone's mad at you and they want to get you, and they say, my car's been stolen, and here's a license plate, and then you know.
It causes problems.
Right? That's not a good idea, people.
Well, they're doing it, and of course this is what's coming down the pipe for everybody else. They also say that these are going to feature GPS units, which means the government will know where you are every second. Not that they don't already, but again, it's more this big brother is watching you.
Well, they have the black boxes in the cars now anyway, so they know anyway.
Well, they know if they want to, but now everybody is going to be aware that everybody is watching you. It also says that there's a company that's saying, oh, the government's not going to know, but it's this private company who's actually doing the license plate that's going to know. So it's like, what's the difference at this point?
Another private company.
Right, what's the difference? Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting, there's so much information out there right now on time travel. Now we have a particle physicist named Brian Cox, who at the British Science Festival said that time travel is possible, but only in one direction. So he's saying you can build a time machine.
What direction is it?
Well, you go forward. You can go into the future, but you can't come back.
I see.
So he says that you've got almost total freedom of movement in the future. Now that's a pretty major statement for a mainstream physicist to make.
And what did I say in my simultaneous existence? That future is open. It's not set in stone.
That's right, and that's really what they're telling you here. Mm-hmm. They're also equating his particular theory to the twin paradox, which I think, again, they're bringing up these twinning things all over the place. They're talking about, for example, if you have two twins, one stays on Earth, and one goes on this particular journey, which they say will make you travel at the speed of light, and then it comes back. The twin that stays on Earth will have aged, but the twin who goes off through this journey will come back and not have aged. So how do they know that?
I'd want to be the twin that doesn't
goes
age.
that way.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting. How do they know that? Why are they saying? And they're bringing again the twins. And remember, that's always going to be out there. Now, the other thing that he's talking about is he's equating his theory to Doctor Who. And he says that there has to be a wormhole in order for people to get back. But he's saying there are no wormholes that are discovered yet. But if that happens, then you can really create a time machine.
Well, I'm going to talk about wormholes and vortices in the October conference.
Yes, and because there are a lot of things going on here that maybe they'll attend our conference because I know they could learn about it.
I think they take my ideas anyway.
I know they do. So this is interesting that's coming on mainstream news. Now the other interesting thing that's going on, which I talked about last time, is all the things that are going on underground. Because we're talking about the ice age that's going to happen on top. So where are people going to go? Underground. So they're telling you all the time in the news about new things underground. So this, in the last week, we had a Texas man who thought he had a sinkhole open up in his backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And when they went to investigate it, it turns out that there were actually railroad ties around the entrance, and it actually goes under the road in front of his house. Now, we've not heard anything more about this.
Nobody knows where it goes.
No, but the point is that there are things in the earth. Then there was a new type of snail discovered at 980 meters deep in a cave system in Croatia. So they're talking about life inside the earth that we don't know. A snail. This is a snail, but you know how it goes, and pretty soon, other things happen. And this was the most interesting thing of all to me. There is a cave in Vietnam, the biggest cave in the world, called Hang Son Doong.
Yeah, you watch your language.
Yeah, at this point. Anyway, it's over 5.5 miles long. It actually has a jungle-type rainforest
Inside the cave?
Inside the cave.
So it's a microclimate.
Yes, and it has a river, and they could fit a 40-story skyscraper inside.
Ooh, wow.
And they just found this, they say, within the last 4 years, and they're prepping it for tourists. So again, they're preparing you to go inside the earth and to find out what's going on. Okay, now, you may not know this.
I know everything.
Well, you might not know this, but on my Facebook page, I have been posting a lot of things about tattoos.
Ooh.
Because I'm talking about on there how tattoos are really remnants of hyperspace archetypes and symbols that people are wanting to permanently attach to their body, and about how the indigenous people did such things, years ago, blah, blah. What people don't understand is what is in tattoo ink. And what's in tattoo ink, it's full of metal. It's the reds and the oranges are rusts and all kinds of things. So if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see that. But what's interesting to me is that Miss Kansas, who is now participating in the Miss America 2014 contest in Atlantic City, is actually bearing her tattoos. And they're not small, they're big. And so they're imprinting you to have the tattoos on your body. Now, a long time ago, you'll remember in the concentration camps, the Jews were tattooed. And of course, drunken sailors were tattooed. And now it is becoming...
And Stewart was tattooed.
And Stewart's was tattooed, which we've agreed to disagree on certain things. But what I want you to understand is not just what the design even, is actually what you're doing health-wise to your body. And keep watching my Facebook page because I have more interesting information about it. It's not the issue of the tattoo itself. It's what they're actually making you put into your body.
What if there's organic tattoos?
They're not. A long time ago, the indigenous people had those. But even in the Roman times, they put iron shavings to make black.
Really?
Yes. So if you go back and you research what they're putting in the tattoo ink, in fact, there's some MRI machines that will not allow you to go through that process if you have tattoos on your body because of the heavy metallic content. And the metallic content leaches into your body organs and your bones. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that they're making it look very glamorous for people, but there's a lot of things behind the scenes. So read my Facebook pages on tattoos because I've got a lot going on.
But I bet Miss Kansas would know if they call them Kansans or not.
She might, and I thought that was interesting you talked about it because here we have Kansas. Okay, then the next story I have for you. Well, I want to finish, I guess, with Miss Kansas. I haven't quite finished. The other thing about her is that of course, her father was in the Army for 33 years. That's, of course, programming usually a big sign. She also hunts, and she's majoring in chemistry and Chinese.
Ooh, that's an interesting combination.
Isn't that an interesting combination, especially when we talk
she
about
could mix
what's
drinks
happening.
in a Chinese restaurant
She
and guard the...
But we've also talked about the Chinese infiltrating the U.S. very, taking over bit by bit. So again, what is her programming that makes that happen? And the fact that this is for the public eye. Now, they're also telling the females here in the U.S., not only is, can you be sexy, but you can be a hunter and you can be in the Army.
Viking Woman.
A Viking Woman, because they want the females to be out there as aggressive as the males. So I don't know whether or not, she'll
Well, you're
win.
a Viking Woman, aren't
I
you?
am, but I'm not this much of a Viking woman.
No.
She's also, of course, dressed in a red bikini. Red is, of course, a symbol for lots of anger
Does it match her tattoos?
No, her tattoos are black.
Oh.
So she's probably full of a lot of metal. But anyway, I found that interesting. Now, the other thing that's interesting, that's, last spring, now I'm sure you keep up on women's hair fashions, right?
Constantly.
That's what I thought.
It's overwhelming
Yeah.
sometimes.
Last spring I was talking with a woman who does my hair, and she was telling me that the newest style was messy hair. So they would take women's hair and just mess it all, and you got out of bed. She
What a
says,
scam that is.
yeah, and she says, well, who's
You should open up a beauty parlor like that. You're done,
You're
50
done.
bucks.
Yeah, but she was disappointed. The hairstyle, my hairstylist was disappointed because she goes to these shows and then this is what they're showing her. Is like you said, what woman really wants to look like that? Well, now I was reading about what's going on. This is New York Fashion Week, which you probably know that.
Oh yeah.
Of course
they
you know
invited me, but I was just too busy.
Well, now it appears it's possible that one of the new styles is called dirty hair.
Dirty hair.
They have.
I know about that.
Yeah, well, I don't. They take the people's hair and then makes it look like it's dirty. So I'm thinking first messy hair and now dirty hair. Again, to me, it's more this astral-y type of stuff. It's not about hygiene. I mean, if you are clean, but you have this, thing about you, it still sets a frequency. So I thought that was interesting. Then I've not commented on this anywhere publicly before because it's just so out there. But I'm going to comment today, and this is about Miley Cyrus and her little gig on the VMA. All right. First of all, I hope that everybody knows Miley is not her real name.
It isn't?
No, her real name is Destiny Hope.
Well, that's better than Miley.
Well, the reason they call her Miley supposedly was when she was little she smiled so much, so they called her Smiley. Then they took that off, so it became Miley. But to me, it's about like
Miley Cyrus.
She's going like the extra mile. And so, of course, this twerking thing, which a lot of people were so disgusted about, that of course, that was all over the internet. That was the beginning of it. Well, how can I say it?
Just say it.
Okay. Shock. This is how I tell you they open up frequency, is they shock everybody. Everybody was shocked. They showed I think it was Will Smith's family there when the kids with their mouth open and making fun of everything. Oh my God, how could this happen? Well, it's gone from shock to what it normally does. Now the kids are doing this in their school dances and all kind of things are happening. They're showing old ladies doing it and they're making fun of it. Now we're laughing at it. And then next thing you know, it's going to be normal. And if you're also reading on my Facebook fan page, I have the article on the astral realm. What is the astral realm? Because what they're doing, and you and I have talked about this, is they're squeezing the astral realm into here, into this reality, so you can't tell the difference. So this is bringing this with the Cyrus stuff.
If you added a P to her name, she'd be Miley Cypress.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what she would like to be, or other things. And now she's got a new video out. You've probably seen this one, where she's swinging on a cannonball and she's naked. So she's,
I was thinking of doing that in the next podcast.
Well, I was thinking you could do that at the next seminar.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
So maybe
You
if
could
enough of you
you
say
could
you'd
start
like
doing
that.
circus, like what do they call the Cirque du Soleil? You can have Cirque du Stewart or something.
Cirque du Stew.
Yeah, Cirque du Stew.
Yeah.
But anyway, so all of this stuff is coming down the pike. And the other thing is I'm going to write about this on the member side a little bit in my blog. But the other thing, which I find very interesting, was, again, at the hairstylist. I was reading one magazine. It was called Lucky Magazine. And I could not believe, again, how low level and low grade it is. And a lot of things that I don't even want to say it on camera. But they talked about, for example, for breasts, I don't like the word that they usually use, which is the boob thing, because that's, a dunce type of thing. Now they're calling them a set of twins, which go back to the twin theory, which we talked about for the time travel.
It'd be very odd if one twin went into the future and stayed young and the other one got old. That'd be kind of funny looking.
Maybe. But the point still is, the article was like, how to take care of your set of twins. So again, they're bringing up the twins, and it's very low level stuff, but I'm going to write about it in my blog because I don't want to say it on here.
So I was going at the conference, I was going to show some ladies take care of their twins with some cream.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you were.
How you can,
massage it. Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, so there's just lots of stuff going on, again, to degrade humanity, to degrade females, to degrade everybody. It's not just male or female. It's everybody. They're lower leveling everything. So my goal is not to participate in what I call the degradation of society.
So you're not going to take care of your twins?
I'm not going to discuss it publicly. Let's put it that way.
Why not? I think it would attract a lot of viewers.
Well, if that's what you want.
Okay, I'll take care of my twins if that's what you'd like.
You take care of your twins. So what do you think that would be for the male?
I don't know.
Yes, you do know. Lower.
Oh, the boys.
Yeah, the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, down lower. You have twins down there. That'll probably be next for
Everybody has twins somewhere.
Somewhere. But anyway, so that's part of your programming thing. Now, I want to also, speaking of memberships, we're getting the site up and going. We're working the bugs out. If you haven't been on lately.
Well, not if you have dirty hair, you leave the bugs in.
Well, you eat the bugs. Actually, you could have them in your dirty hair and you could eat them then as a snack.
It's like the monkeys they
yeah, and then they eat them. Because that's what they do now. They want you on bugs because that has to do with high protein and save the planet, right? Okay. So anyway, be sure you get your membership. We appreciate your financial support. It's been a rough couple of months for us with as you know, our information was stolen by our ex-webmaster. So we've had to start from scratch. So we need everything. People are sending in stuff from the site that they've saved, whether it's pay-per-views, the webinars, all these things that you've copied for your own use, you're sending to us, and we're reloading that on the site, which we appreciate. We also have events coming up. The next one, of course, is Kuiper Belt Connection in October. That's the one we're getting excited about because a lot of good information we've been researching for the last couple of years we're going to be telling you about. November, Stewart will be in Perth, Australia, doing an Hyperspace Oversoul Extravaganza week. So that's pretty astounding. And then we have in January, of course, our own Hyperspace Oversoul Extravaganza here in Michigan, which I will also participate in. And I will be cooking for you, as always. Ooh. So that will be great. And if you need to register, which you should be needing to register because these are rough times, contact Patricia immediately. Customer support at expansions.com. Okay, that's...
Okay. Oh, and... Should you mention, just in case they had an issue
with emails.
Yeah, because we switched servers, and unfortunately, during that process, our email was considered spam by the new server until that was fixed. So for a couple of days, we didn't get your emails. I don't know if we lost any or if they came through, but if you are not getting a response, please resend.
Yeah, and that includes Patricia's, and also please notice we've developed a couple of new reports for you that we're pretty excited about too.
Oh yes,
frequency activator reports where you can become your own radionics and
verbally.
Right, by with verbal frequency.
I'll explain it to you when you read the report.
Yeah, and also that's posted on the homepage and it's posted on the Facebook fan page. So that's pretty interesting and unique reports we're doing, and also how to remove your financial blocks, because that's always a big thing with people. It has to do with your energy, and we teach you how to look at all of that and keep things flowing for yourself, especially when the powers that be want you to think that it's hopeless and there's nothing you can do about it. We are here to tell you, don't listen, don't participate in that. Create your own life with your own mind, which is the strongest tool that you have. Okay, anything else?
I think you covered Almost everything.
Almost everything. All right, well, that's
Yeah.
great. Well, as always, it's wonderful to have you here with us. We love the fact that we're back online. We appreciate your comments because we want to know what you are thinking, right?
Oh, and the
Right.
Q&A should be fixed very soon, so make sure you participate in that.
Yeah, we've had that up and down, but like I said, we're working the bugs out as we go. So hopefully within a day or two that will be back up. So keep watching. We're going to we have exciting things on the gold member side because we are now going to put all of our videos up there. You will not be able to purchase them on the disc, but and you will not have to pay for per view anymore. It will all be in gold membership for one low price. So that's an amazing bargain for anybody. You can do that. Right now it's at $35 a month, I believe. So
Spend more than that on a weekend of drinking.
a lot more
Well,
than
you
that.
do.
I do.
Yes.
You know
Or
me.
hopping every other weekend.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah.
You're going to Sirius?
I was already.
You were on
Yeah,
Sirius?
I wasn't serious.
Well, do you think this Brian Cox could use some of your
Will you
advice?
stop using bad language? I mean, she's always trying to throw in a bad word, and you slips it in there. I understand. I got what you mean.
I was referring to chickens.
First you talk about my boys, then you say this guy named Cox. Come on,
no,
really?
the chickens are looking for Brian Cox.
What? Okay,
You got that one?
I think we need to sign off now. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.